I saw an interesting clip on Twitter about comparing anime, and it got my wheels turning. I'll play the clip, then talk about it.
Even a lot of the top shows we watch now that I feel like came from Dragon Ball Z in general.
Yeah,
I feel like that's a big component. Like think about it, like, all right, they didn't have much competition, but like they also had the nigga actually had to come up with that shit off the dome. Like, we don't
It is
like
no contest. Talking about better show, it is no contest. If them bitches came out side by side, that's what you gotta do when you talk about a better show. If them bitches came out side by side at the same time, Dragon Ball Z not making as far as Attack on Titan. No.
So they're comparing Dragon Ball from 1984 to Attack on Titan from 2009. I actually agree with both sides to a certain extent. I agree with Dylan on the fact that AOT smokes DBZ in quality, but I also agree with John that you have to take eras into account. Stories aren't made from thin air. They're built off of what came before them. When people write, they take inspiration from the past and then sometimes try to push the envelope. This is what I'll call the quality ceiling. This is the highest quality of stories written at the time in context. I'll be speaking in terms of the general consensus, not my personal opinion. When Dragon Ball was being written, in the context of battle manga, it was the story that raised the quality ceiling and became the quality ceiling. It took inspiration from what was written at the time and then pushed the envelope. Then, other stories like JoJo, Yu Yu Hakusho, and Kenshin continued raising the ceiling after using Dragon Ball as a foundation. This cycle continued until we hit the current ceiling, which includes battle manga from One Piece to JJK. Therefore, comparing Jujutsu Kaisen to DBZ can be viewed as unfair because DBZ had to take inspiration from Muscle Man and Fist of the North Star, while JJK had both of these, plus One Piece, Naruto, Bleach, Hero Academia, Black Clover, and more. Going back to AOT, the argument could be made that these two are comparable because DBZ was the quality ceiling of its era, while AOT is the quality ceiling of its era. Furthermore, AOT was coming out in a digital age, which meant that the library of stories Isayama could take influence from was much greater. In the West, stories that are considered to be high quality ceiling raisers, like The Walking Dead, Breaking Bad, and Game of Thrones were coming out. People call this the golden age of US TV. Isayama had specifically stated to have taken the future stuff from The Three-Eyed Raven and GOT. So not only did he write AOT off the backs of manga of the past, but he also had Western stories to take from. People don't just write from scratch, they consume past stories and then form their tastes and style based off of that. Because AOT came after, the quality ceiling had already been pushed much further than when DBZ was coming out. And on top of that, just like how AOT is viewed as the ceiling for its era, DBZ was also viewed as the ceiling for its era. Dragon Ball followed the conventions of its time. It's not like DBZ intentionally made writing decisions that would be shunned today. It made those decisions because it was normal at the time. DBZ didn't have complex villains with philosophies or intricate consistent power systems because those weren't normal at the time. Mangaka hadn't made those discoveries yet. Yu Yu Hakusho and Kenshin would push for more complex villains, and Hunter x Hunter and Naruto would push for intricate power systems. I actually talked about this in my video on the evolution of shonen. DBZ blazed a trail and made its own discoveries, but one story can't be expected to raise the quality ceiling by miles all on its own. That's not realistic. AOT didn't do that either. Its apocalyptic setting can be traced back to zombie stories like The Walking Dead. Its titans are a combination of zombies and mechas. Its Odium gear is clearly influenced by Spider-Man. Even its protagonist's final plan is ripped straight out of Code Geass, another story that raised the quality ceiling. In conclusion, if someone were to say that DBZ and AOT are in the same playing field because they were both the ceiling of quality at the time that they came out, I would see their point but not necessarily agree. Thank you for watching. Please like, comment, share, subscribe, and help me revolutionize the manga industry by buying my manga and spreading the word. All important links will be in the description.